Well, lads, what's the crack? My name's Adzi. Just a quick note before we get into the video of our Premier League prediction for next season. Um, this video was recorded on the 10th, I think, of June. It is currently the 7th of July. And obviously, since then, the tragic passing of both Diogo Jota and Andre Silva has happened. So I thought it'd be rude for me not to mention it before we kick off the video. Rest in peace to the pair of them. They were loved players, and hopefully they're happy where they are. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. So it's find it kind of hard to find words to do this, but it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I just wanted to mention that, obviously, because we couldn't mention it or play the video without, respecting them. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and my apologies to the family of Diogo and Andre Silva. Hopefully they can remain strong, and as ever, lads, you'll never walk alone. And I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the video. Right, lads, what's the crack? How's she cutting? We're going to do what every other football channel does around this time and give our predictions for next season, because we didn't do one for last season. So we can review it at the end of next season. Yippee! So we have our Prem table done by yours truly. I'm an artist. And we have from 1st to 20th, and obviously the green and green being Europa, orange obviously for green being Conference League, Europa League, Champions League spots, which throughout the season may change if the English teams do well in Europe again. They'll be extended, but obviously we don't know that just yet. First, and then we have our relegation. So, are we all ready, lads?
Just about, yeah.
Right, Wolverhampton Wanderers.
What about them?
What do you think of them? As Noni Madueke would say, fucking shite, lads.
It
stank.
So we are doing this now as well, just to clarify, as the first 10 days of the transfer window has closed. So whatever signings have been more or less done, are being done as of the 10th of June. So that's what we're doing from here. So obviously if things go on and change throughout this, then obviously we're not given for that.
Just an early prediction video.
More or less. So
Wolves, I would say Cunha's after leaving.
Aït-Nouri's after leaving.
They finished the season pretty strong though with the new manager, but I think with Cunha leaving, and Aït-Nouri was okay for them.
Yeah,
he's decent. But I think Cunha, again, I don't know how they're gonna like. I think they got like 60 mil from him, so I mean,
it's whether or not they actually spend that.
Well, they'll spend it. Just can they replace him?
That's what it's all about. Can they replace the goals and assists?
And I'm not sure. I was going to take a decent bit of scouting, but it's hard to. I think they ended up finishing, was it 12th or something this year? Like 13th, 12th, something like that. I'd say probably around about the same. I'd say about 13th or 14th. That'd be mine.
Any objection to that, Ryan, or more or less all agreed?
Oh, I would kind of.
I actually think they might get lower.
I think I was going to say, I think they might be 14th, 15th.
Yeah, I think they're around the 14, 15, 16th mark. I think they're around here.
Around that.
Like, the only thing I'd say was, like, once Gary O'Neill left, like, the new manager could have been in for a shout for one of the managers of the season.
Oh,
like
okay, yeah.
The turnaround has been crazy.
The turnaround's been crazy, but they've lost a lot now, so I'm just deducting it based on what we know so far, and
yeah,
I think they're going to end up fucking definitely in the lower part of the league.
Well,
Rob, don't think they'll get relegation.
You said 12th, didn't you?
Up.
Probably 12th to 14th. 12th, I think, being, they replace Cunha with a decent forward somewhere.
Yeah.
14th, just in case they can't hit the ground running. I don't know. I'm mainly going off the manager. I'm taking into account Cunha as well, but.
Well, how about this? We'll meet in the middle. Me and Ryan think maybe 14th or lower. You think maybe 12th. Let's go 13th. That way it's kind of an even. Next, we have Forest, obviously, after a fantastic season. They got, was it Europa, or they got Conference League, wasn't it? Or did they get European in the end?
They got
They didn't.
conference.
They got conference. Yeah.
Conference
They
League.
got conference, and there's a thing going on now. Cut a long story short, basically, Palace won the FA Cup. They got Europa, but there's a thing where this multi-club model, the fact that the same owner who owns a part owner who owns Palace and Leon, both of them got Europa League, and they're trying to take thing out of it, Palace out of Europa League now.
Yeah.
Because of a conflict of interest. But the guy who owns the shares is actually trying to sell them. They just made a fucking bollocks of it. Not Palace's fault. Guy who owns the shares' fault. But yeah, that's pretty much a crack. I think that's what forced Forest down, I believe.
Then now, again, I don't think Forest are going to have anywhere near the same season they did. I think what they had was lightning in a bottle, and near the end of the season, teams kind of found out how to play against them, like their style, their system.
They were still decent, but they did kind of have a bit of a fall off towards the end because, again, I support Chelsea. We had to play them nearly in a one game shoot off last game, and I was a bit worried because of the form they're in. Chris Wood, all Alanga, all these players playing out their skin, but we seem to kind of contain them. And I was looking at them going, they just look a bit tired.
Yeah.
Like they look like, don't know if they're found out, but just there's Chris Wood. I think had his best season ever, and he was 33.
Yeah.
Like it's. Can they replicate that? Will they replace him? If they replace him, can he still do what Chris want? And also will they sell people? Who knows? So
Yeah.
at the moment, I think to be safe, I'd go 8th or 9th. I think there'll be a bit of a slide. I think Nuno's decent, but I'm just gambling that they'll bring in more signings.
Yeah.
For the European football.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd actually put them a little bit lower, but I would agree I'd put 9th for me, 9th, 10th, around that.
They're around there.
Yeah.
Obviously one of the up and coming teams once again back in the Premier League, Leeds.
Leeds.
I actually have a take on these. I think these could stay up. I actually.
What's making you think that?
See, I agreed with you, but I was actually going to say I might have had Wolves in my relegation zone. But there's another team I think will get not found out, but I think Leeds are going to be better than West Ham. I don't think Potter is a great coach, and I don't think West Ham is a great team. They have their great history and big name, but this season, again, like United and like Tottenham, if there was 3 better teams, and I do think teams like Leeds and Sunderland are better than maybe a West Ham.
We're sticking with Leeds now, are we? And then going to West Ham.
Yeah, I'm just giving my reasons for why I think they might scrape 17th. But again, up for debate. What do you think?
Well, I don't really want to mix the two of them, but I think at West Ham, I think what Potter kind of got. He has been great, but I thought Lopetegui, I wasn't impressed with his West Ham team at all. But we know the talent on the pitch. Like, I haven't seen Chelsea licked with kudos. I feel like he's going to leave, maybe, but they're looking at 70 million or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's an incredible player. Bowen's incredible. They're missing, I think, is it Thomas Susek? I think he's leaving.
Yeah.
They do have some quality throughout the team, and I feel like, again, if Kudos leaves for a few bob, a bit of money into the team, and Potter says, what I need for my system is X, Y, Z, and then let him start building. I think he is a good coach. I think the Chelsea move was too early for him, but what he did at Brighton was very, impressive.
Okay.
So it's about West Ham's recruitment, but I think if they sell Kudos to whoever, the money will be there. So then if they listen to, I don't know what their recruitment model is like, but I think they could maybe back Potter. So that's if you're going between both of them, like I wouldn't just say Leeds I think we're still looking at a very disjointed West Ham team,
Yeah.
and they just look down on themselves. Like even Kudos, we've seen how good he can be, and he wasn't really even in the headlines. You know what I mean? He was just
Yeah.
passive. You know,
Just lingered.
I do genuinely feel he can go to a lot of teams and just kick on.
Yeah.
Kudos, I think he's a serious player. But yeah, I wouldn't be just. I don't think West Ham want to keep that downward trajectory. I think they'll kind of
They'll float. I think they'll just float
yeah.
around where they need to be and then kind of rebuild up.
I
For
can
me,
see
I
them.
think
Go on.
Leeds will be in the top of that relegation, so they will get relegated, but they'll be in the top of it.
18th.
I didn't.
Yeah, I think so.
I would have given them 17th, but yeah, as you said, 17th, 18th.
In and around there.
I've a bad feeling it could be the same this year. The three promoted could get
Yeah,
relegated. I think that
yeah,
gap is after, like even look
Yeah.
this year, like the two above relegation this year was well to be fair, Man United didn't finish from 15th, I think, but you know what I mean. They were like look at the money in them clubs,
Yeah.
like do you know what I mean, and like compared to the relegation teams, like if you go Tottenham finished 17th and then 20th was Southampton, you're going that's not really comparable. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
just I think that gap's after widening more, and I hope it doesn't because I think that kind of ruins the sport. You don't want the relegation battle to be done. You want everything to be competitive, but
Yeah.
it's just unfortunate the way it is.
yeah.
We'll put them there for a minute anyway. It might change as we go on through this. Fulham. Kind of always just a good round Midland team, like
Respectable,
10th,
yeah.
11th. Not
Yeah.
really much of a change.
Yeah,
Literally
10th,
where they
10th,
finished
12th maybe.
last season.
Yeah.
Where
I'll
did they
get
finish
them.
last season?
They're just stable, really.
I'll get it up on my phone so I can keep it alongside us while we're looking.
The table itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just from
I have
this
the table
season.
up.
Where did they finish?
They finished 11th.
They did finish 11th.
Yes.
So it'd be safe to say maybe give them 11th again. Kind of good average.
Yeah. They haven't improved and they haven't gone backwards, really. So I would just put them as really, they're going to do the same, I'd say.
Yeah.
There and abouts, maybe a place or two behind or above.
Okay. Brighton. Now, obviously, we don't know yet what's going to happen with Crystal Palace, but
Just to call out, Brighton finished 8th last year.
they finished 8th,
Yep.
but they
So
could be
a bit
going
of
into Europe.
A bit of a European push.
Yeah.
At the end. Yeah.
I think they are good enough to push for a Conference League.
Yes.
I tell you, like last year when he first took over, Iman Herzler, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
He's only like 33, I believe. He'd one job over in Germany, and he takes like he's not an assistant. He's the main man at 33, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he came over, and the first time I really noticed him was Chelsea played against him, and he kept on playing this high line, and that was the game I think Cole Palmer scored 4 in the first half.
Yeah.
And I was like, but he kept on really playing into our hand. And after that match, I was thinking, I don't know if it's too much for him, the job, because he seemed to have one way of playing, kept playing the high line, and it was like Chelsea kept on exploiting it. And I was like, change it up, sit back, do something else. But I feel like as the season went on, like he really started to become. I followed him a little bit more, and I actually thought, it could have exploded for him. He could have got sacked in the first couple of weeks, but obviously he held his nerve. He has the dressing room, and there's a lot of talent there. Thing with Brighton is, will they sell their talent again? Like
Yeah,
Baleba.
that's the big question.
Yeah. These players might
they need
get
to try
moves.
to finish in 8th, build on that, and then try and push for Europe. Could be conference. It could be Europa.
Yeah.
I
But
think
it's all about the funds.
I think for the minute, maybe if we change our mind, maybe 7th.
Yeah.
Not just
Yeah, I'm
Europe,
in
but
agreement.
just below it.
Look, they're the masters of smart recruitment, to be fair. So
Yeah.
even if they sell Baleba, you're like, it's nearly worse because then just they buy more fucking gems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I seen them already. I seen them already in the last couple of days buying a few more 18-year-olds that could be fucking world beaters.
Yeah, we'll
you
see
know?
them at Chelsea now in 2 years for fucking 100 million each.
Oh, easy clap.
Now,
Now, a team that did
interesting one
finish
now.
10th in the last season.
Palace has to be Palace.
What?
Is it Palace?
No,
No.
it's Brentford.
No, Brentford.
A
Did
team.
Palace not end up finishing 10th?
No,
No,
Brentford
they
did.
finished
Oh,
12th.
Palace.
The
Palace
Brentford finished
finished
12th.
12th.
There's a whole meme of Palace like that. He always just finish 10th
They
every
did,
year.
yeah.
Just like finish 10th. Yeah, it's
Well, they broke it this year. They finished 12th.
Yeah, they were worse off. But
But
yeah,
because they were still drunk from winning the
Brentford.
cup
yeah,
run.
but Brentford finished 10th last season. But obviously, one of their
Um,
main players, and now obviously replacement goalkeeper,
to be totally
and
honest with you,
manager.
it's the fact that Thomas Frank is going again.
Yeah,
If you had said what he would have done this year, the fact that they lost Ivan Toney and the team didn't blink an eye,
yeah,
Vissa and Mbeumo just stepped up. And I was listening to something yesterday where I think it was on a podcast. There's a Brentford like a fan talking about them, and they were like, I think they bought Mbeumo when he was like 19 from like a League Two French team.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the recruitment again has been fairly decent, but I feel like Thomas Frank, man, is just
He's a good tactician.
he's a serious coach, and he's one of these coaches where I feel like the likes of him, if he had went to United, with this talent, and it's like he's always good at nurturing talent and getting the best out of these players. And I think, not trying to skip ahead, but I think Tottenham could have a massive jump underneath him, a massive jump.
Yeah, I
The,
have
the
Tottenham a lot
talent at
higher.
Tottenham is crazy. It's
Yes.
just because of him. I think he's such an underrated coach, but I think Brentford losing him.
I can see them maybe
then
down in
Mbeumo.
15th, maybe
I was gonna
16th.
say, I was going to say 14th. I don't think they're going to be that poor. I think 14th, just the same as Wolves, really.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give a hot take. I think the wheels could fall off the cart and they could be potential relegation.
they were one of my teams. I was thinking might maybe Leeds could overtake them, and maybe
It it,
Brentford
it
could end
just
up there.
depends. I can just see that because I kind of think again this didn't happen yet. And Buemo's leaving. I can just see Vissa leaving, and I just don't think they can replace them and then have. I think Thomas Frank was working miracles there.
Yeah,
Like the fact that they lost Ivan Toney, and all of a sudden a winger and a striker pop up and he scored like 20 goals apiece.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's bananas. Um, yeah. So I can see them falling back, and God knows where they'll end up.
Just want to, where do you want to throw them? Because I'm going 14th. Use the same more relegation. So
I think
meet in the
for the
middle
minute we'll
somewhere.
go with 16th maybe.
I think
Yeah.
15, 16. I genuinely
15th,
do think
16th.
the bottom three will just be the clubs that come
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Same
Unfortunately.
as me.
Yeah.
I kind of know it to be true that it will happen like that, but I'd like to see maybe just a bit of like break the wheel a small bit, like hopefully maybe a Leeds or a Sunderland stay up or whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
It's
I
But
just,
think
it's so unfortunate.
I
yeah,
think the biggest hope is staying up is maybe Burnley because of that incredible defensive record in the championship, and it's just if they can get a load of draws, Robert, like take a few wins every so often. But I think they only conceded something ridiculous like 18 goals in the championship last year.
yeah,
They didn't score as many goals, but like they were ridiculous. I think they missed out on the league by a point. Leeds won it by a point, but it's Burnley's extremely good defensive record. I'm thinking if they can just keep that going,
yeah,
play really just horrible low blocks or and try and grind out wins and stuff, it's just if you have a good foundation, there's something to build off.
yeah.
But for Sunderland, I worry about them. I think they're too open.
Yeah.
They could be like Southampton, unfortunately. But you never know. You never know what could happen with recruitment and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bees will throw them in 16 for the minute
Yeah.
until we
Yeah.
come back to that. Manchester City. What are we thinking?
Do you just want to do these ones now? Like I'd go through them as is, or do you want to go for like who do you think's going to win the title or whatever at the end?
We can keep them till the end. We can skip over them for the minute if you want, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll keep
We'll
like the
go
top
Bournemouth,
6 more or less for maybe the last bit.
Bournemouth.
So again, Bournemouth now after losing Kirkes, they
I
lost
see
Dean Huyson.
a lot of people looking at Semenyo.
Semenyo
Yeah.
could go.
A lot of people looking at Zabarni. The centre back pairing of Huyson and Zabarni.
Yeah,
But they're giving like basically like a fuck off price for your man Zabarni.
yeah,
So they
seen
just
that.
don't lose him. But I think they will. And it's just
Like
how do you build off that? It's so
they
unfortunate.
they finished ninth, so and after losing a considerable amount of their squad, like they're potentially going to lose a considerable amount of their squad.
Like when you
I
think about it, like the
yeah,
amount of Huyson was, they got him for, they did great business, but they were playing last season with like a world class defender, and that's why he's left.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of like they're not going to replace him with a world class defender odds. You know what I
no,
mean?
No.
Like, so you're going right. You know, you take that quality of the team. If you miss Semenyo as well, you're going Jesus. It gets rough.
the team's gutted essentially.
And then I suppose you still have the manager. I think Ariola's done a good job.
Yeah.
But again, without the players, he's kind of helpless.
Maybe low
I'm thinking,
15s.
yeah, I was
15.
going to say 14, 15.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think about that.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say 14th. Maybe they try and hold a
'Cause
bit, but
that's the biggest problem because I did enjoy their football this year. I thought they played some
yeah,
Yeah,
great stuff.
they,
But
they had really
Huyson as
enjoyable.
well. When Chelsea was in for Huyson, I was like, come on. And then he was like, I'm a Real Madrid fan. And then I went from like, yeah,
Yeah,
might as well cook.
that was the end of that.
Like, yeah. He's like, once he's like, I'm a Real Madrid fan, and they're sniffing, you're going, yeah, well, just chalk it up. Like,
Bun it up. Right. Talk of the devil. We have Burnley,
I think they will finish second last.
19th. Then,
Yep.
not to skip ahead, I have a feeling then we're probably putting Sunderland dead last,
Yeah,
just to get it out of the way now.
Yeah.
Our bottom
like
three.
again, when we're doing this, we're going off. There's no transfers yet. But if these
Yeah.
clubs make a few interesting loans or transfers or anything like that,
it's
they'll be
thrown
like,
on its head.
yeah, it could be like, well, that gives me a chance to stay up. Or
Well, probably against Sunderland, they did just sell
Joe
the
Bellingham.
Bellingham brother, to Dortmund. Now, obviously, it gives them a few quid in the pocket. It's one of their all-time biggest sales, which is great. But they can't really afford to go out and kind of replace him as a talent for how good he was doing in the championship.
He was decent. I do think he's getting a lot of hype because he's Jude's brother. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Of
he's,
course.
you know what I mean. I don't know if he's at that. But I've seen a few Sunderland fans going like, you know, it's okay, like, you know what I mean. But I don't follow him too much. He looked decent, but you know, it could be a bit overblown. But we'll see how they get on. But it's hard to see the way they play. I watched them playing against Coventry, and Coventry like kind of all over them as well in the playoff. And I was like, it feels like most Premier League teams have too much for them. You know what I mean? But look, it's hard to know. They might improve.
By looking at the teams, what we have left, I think it's not fully self-explanatory, but I think from what I'm looking at here, it's going to be probably a Palace, maybe 10th.
I think it's a safe Palace tent.
Yeah,
It really
you know,
is.
let's
They
not
don't
reinvent the wheel
improve
here.
and they don't go down really. They're just
I think
stable.
maybe Everton do their usual and fly
I think
Oh,
no,
no.
I think
Much higher.
12th. I think
12th.
12th
Yeah.
or
They finished 13th last
Well,
season.
remember,
so I
that's
think
what
they're
I'm
just-
saying about. I was saying about the West Ham battle for relegation. Like West Ham, or do you have like a United down here again? Because like the teams that are left, just to call them out for you, is Manchester City, Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, Man United, West Ham,
That's the
Liverpool,
case.
Arsenal, and Aston Villa
I would move, in my opinion, could potentially move Wolves down then if that's the case.
to 15th.
Yeah.
I completely forgot all about them. What are we doing with Man United?
That's what
No,
that's what I'm trying to
this is
say.
where I
What do
wanted to get
you
onto.
think? We can
I
skip, we
think
can
for
do them
United-
now. Well, actually, here, just to get the main one out of the way for the minute, will we throw West Ham for the minute into 13th, and then we can work our way around us?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
aren't like these spots aren't just for anyone watching. These spots are not our final decision. We might switch this whole fucking table on its head, but
Yeah,
for
we'll
the
just
minute,
keep going now anyway.
Yeah.
We're still going through. But
Yeah.
what are we
But-
doing now? Man United. We'll
so
get to the
yeah,
gritty.
we'll get to the gritty
United.
stuff now.
So yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Um,
Well, I tell you what. Let's just lay it out there. They're after improving already. They're after getting what's his face from Wolves,
Cunha
They're
Cunha,
and Mbeumo.
potentially getting
Mbeumo.
Mbeumo. I've seen a few rumors that Thomas Frank to Spurs and he could try and hijack that deal.
Yeah,
So just or else he
take
you
it
never
with a
know,
pinch of
like,
salt.
So nothing's done we've seen so far.
The only
So,
one that's concrete is more or less Cunha.
Acuna's already done and announced everything, yeah.
Yeah.
But if they get them two, and I see rumblings of Gyökeres, I'm going, look, they're improving tenfold, quality
Yeah.
wise, because they could not score goals last year. It was crazy. Amarim as well. He could get sacked in the first couple of weeks. He could end up,
Yeah.
doing brilliantly. It's
such a
It's just dicey.
hard one to judge.
Would you give them 8?
I was feeling that, yeah.
I'm looking at that spot there.
I was
That's
feeling
open.
a.
Like they finished
For the
15th.
minute.
They finished 15th, and I'm thinking, I think 8 is solid improvement.
I'll be honest,
huge.
I have them down in this region here, like 11th, 12th, or 13th. I don't have them doing much.
I think if the supposed talent is going to come in, I think it does improve them like tenfold, and I think it pushes them
But
up.
so far, the supposed talent is just
What you
Cunha.
can do is throw United in 8th, and we can fill out the board, and then we can see
What
if
we can
start
move.
moving things around. Then
Right,
and that's
so
where we can have more discussions.
For the minute, we'll go with 8. Obviously 17th is still open, so we're gonna have to move this around a good bit.
Yeah, someone's getting moved to the bummer
Right, I'll
spot.
tell you what. We'll start then at the top 4,
bummer
yeah,
spot.
and we'll start putting in people. But I'll tell you what, for a placeholder, stick Tottenham on 17th. That's what he finished last year. So
Yeah, fuck him.
That's
and then we can.
that's not
we can
nice.
start-
Fuck
It is,
'em.
it's just a truth.
It's
That's
the
where he finished
fucking. It's
last year.
fucking straight
It's not an
facts.
insult.
It's
That's why he got
facts.
sacked. That's
Yeah.
why he got sacked, man.
It's facts.
Champions Europe.
I've nothing against Tottenham. I hope they do well, but at the same time, your manager was fucking gack. Was anyway. So
Where we start, just 2 wins it next year is probably the best, and then go from that.
Yeah, probably go from there. Yeah.
well, I'm obviously as a Liverpool supporter, I think with the players we're after buying already, the 3 of them, I think we push and we win it again.
I'm in agreement.
Honestly, it depends who Arsenal buy as a striker.
To me personally, I still think they need 5 different players, different positions. I don't think personally one striker fixes that whole team. That everything starts flowing well. I just don't.
They just need goals. They need goals, and apparently that Zubamendi deal is going through still. And I'm thinking that adds a lot, but it's just goals. If they can get just an absolute goal scorer, but I feel like they're going to go for Sesko, and I don't think he'll complement them.
No.
And that's more money down the drain then for another season.
Yeah, and I just feel that the players that Liverpool have gone out and got this year have been great. They've kind of picked up the players that they needed. Obviously, Trent leaving, they picked up Frimpong, which is great, and especially if Kirkes leaves, and that's official.
It's nearly done already. They're just waiting on the finalisation.
Especially they've covered up that kind of gaping hole in their game, and that even more solidifies them, so there'd be less kind of errors.
And it gives us more options down the left and right side.
Yeah.
We'll put it to a vote. I know there's only 3 of us, obviously, so it's a bit skewed, but...
No, like, I'm just going... Like, you can put it in Liverpool there, yeah, and then we can just go
from there.
Like...
Well, sadly, this isn't just bias, but I think nearly Netflix FC is going to get second again.
I honestly, I don't think, even if they, in my opinion, I think even if they get a striker, I still think they're going to struggle, because depending on the striker, if he's good enough for the league or whatever, it's not going to be enough.
I'm going to throw a hot take.
We love a hot take.
I think Chelsea are going to push for the league next year.
Oh.
And then fall off just at the end.
So you're saying second?
I think so.
So that's pushing Arsenal to third?
I think fourth.
Oh! So you're saying that and then that?
I think I think City next year after buying way too many players. And it's literally like I've seen this with Chelsea. When you have just so many different players, there's no like cohesion anymore. Like you've got Shirky and you have it's just all these different players, all these different styles. It might take them a season or 2 to like, get Pep's, plan down. Where it's like do the thing always.
So do you think 6th for City?
I wouldn't agree with that at all. You have to remember, like, Rodri's going to be coming back as well, and if he does play,
he won't be the same player
for a year.
He won't be the same player.
He could be fine, but
that's my point. If he Yeah, but if he does come back and he is great, that pushes them way up. I think it pushes them to second or third again. Easy.
We'll give them third for the minute, I
If
suppose.
Like my thing with Chelsea is at the moment I'm still basing this off. I think they might do something when the proper transfer window happens. Because as of right now, still think they're a little bit short.
Yeah.
Midfield, they're stacked now, but need to buy a centre back, and then they'll probably go with Petrovic or maybe Moynihan. Like again, it's only 10 days this window,
Yeah.
but then the window's open for like whatever, a month and a half, whatever it is. So there's tons of time for stuff like that to happen, and that's what I'm basing that off. But I think they're a lot closer than what people think. But they have to just become a bit more consistent, and I'm just think they might become a bit more consistent than last year. Build off that. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't mind if they sold Jackson. I don't think he has it. You know, I
No.
think he's so close. But if you have Delap or Ekatike or someone like that up front, you need a left winger, and then I think they're a lot closer. But then they'll need a few years of that, and then they'll be hopefully competing
yeah,
for titles. I'm not saying they're going to win it next year. I still think there could be a gap even still between Liverpool and Chelsea, but I just think I'm just hoping with all the quality. I'm hoping
I
Gustavo
think
hits the ground running and stuff like that. I don't know.
It's an
I
interesting
think
take.
it's going to be kind of like it's not going to be the same as last season, but it's going to be like Liverpool not going to go run away with it, but like second, third, and fourth is going to be a very big mix up between the teams. They're going to be fighting
But
to
I
get
do
that
think
second spot.
we'll fuck up Chelsea and City as this Club World Cup.
Yeah.
Maybe City more because I think City at the moment with all these players, like we'll see how good they are now and how seriously they take it. If City go the whole way and then only get back, like here's something I'll put to you, and it's kind of not trying to go off topic, but the Club World Cup, like like Chelsea and City won't have a proper pre-season where you can have friendly matches and with new players and integrate them
Yeah.
because you're playing the Club World Cup, and then it's like right now start the season. So when we buy like Gustavo and other players that are supposed to be influential, you can't ingrain them in your team properly
Yeah.
because like there's no friendly pre-seasons. Like last year we played against, like we actually got destroyed all last year because Maresca was trying to teach his team how to play back lines and everything else and learning bit by bit. No pre-season, man. I think that could knock like 6 or 7 points off your team already. And
Yeah.
towards the end of the season, that's what I think will fuck both of them maybe. But it's
Yeah,
just pulling themselves
it's
in the arse.
the the top four is it's a difficult one because everyone's going to have a difference of opinions with it
Like
because it's so volatile. Like for me, if it did like the way that you said that you think that Chelsea might finish second, I think they're going to finish fourth
yeah,
behind. That's what I think. If you don't sign a striker, and I still think you're just going to remain fourth. You're in the top
I'm just
four.
being
You can get
hopeful.
there.
I'm just
You're
being
just
hopeful
shy.
that we'll sign something to take us
It's
a bit further,
it, it
closer to the
yeah.
league.
Not saying bad, but it reminds me of Arsenal. You're there, but you're just not there yet. If that means anything.
I'd have more faith in. I'll, as a Liverpool fan, I'll put more faith in Chelsea than I would Arsenal this season.
Oh yeah, but you know what I mean by that. Like they're there, but they're just not there. I think they're just lacking that one or two more players just to get them to that stage.
Yeah.
I think it's literally just a like a proper goal
A
scorer,
proper goal scorer.
and
Yeah.
that's it's interesting because you never know. Like the lap could be like a Palmer, and that he comes in and he just has these ridiculous numbers. You never know, but I think it's too risky to trust that to just say
Mm.
right. Well, I feel like the lap is going to be the main man, and Jackson could be getting minutes. It's like who knows?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
again,
so hard to judge.
we've got a whole window to go, and look, the amount of transfers that's going to happen is crazy, but
Yeah.
it's just being wishful or hopeful. But you could easily change Chelsea and Arsenal there. If Arsenal get
Oh yeah.
if Arsenal get Osimhen, I think they could be in for the league, but I don't think so. But again, Osimhen staying in Europe. Arsenal, if they don't go for Sesko, I think a ready-made striker would suit them down to the ground, man, and their goal tally would shoot up and to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And if Chelsea stayed where they are, they'll finish fourth, if not probably Europa League,
Yeah.
or maybe fifth if might get Champions League again or whatever. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Last two teams. Just we obviously went on a bit of a rant there with the top four, but
Yeah.
obviously Newcastle and Villa. It's more or less a debate. Who do you think out of the two
I'll
teams will
tell
get?
you what. I'll tell you what. I'll give Newcastle fifth for this one reason.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
would
know it
agree.
yet, but Villa have the PSO issues,
Yeah.
and uh, I'm not entirely sure, but I have a sneaking suspicion Chelsea going to make a late push for Morgan Rogers.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he's so good for them.
Yeah, he's a
Like
great
he's
player.
incredible. They need. I feel like they need to replace Watkins as well, and I think they need to sell a few players as well to just make sure they're okay because they're very very close to it. I think their payouts or their salary or whatever to
Yeah.
the wages to whatever is way too high, so they need to.
So obviously, probably the main one we need to switch. Again, I'm not sold on United even in 8th, but obviously Spurs in 17th again. I don't think that's going to replay this season.
No, no. They will improve somewhat.
I'll be honest. Would you maybe? Obviously, they're
Uh,
not. They're not going to be down there this season. In fact, but
No,
maybe Spurs to 9th, kind of maybe United in that fighting in that kind of space,
yeah.
if not lower. Because remember, these
See,
these
I'm
do
looking at
have
these.
Champions League football.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the table now, and I'm thinking maybe we're being too nice to United,
We are being too nice to
possibly.
United.
And I
I
think
like their
Tottenham.
signings though.
Yeah, I like their signings, but whether Amarim's going to get the best out of
Well,
them,
I'm
who
not
knows?
not to be mean.
I'm
I like their
feeling.
Yeah.
signing. They made one.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
need
Well,
they
Like
need
I
one,
like
and
and they need to sell a fucking lot.
I like
oh
the
yeah.
direction they're going. Like getting Premier League proven. Like their squad at the moment seems like it's like don't bring youngsters in to like they might get good in a few years. No, they need at the moment the way their team set up and the fans wanting something to hold on to. They need someone to hit the ground running. And Cunha and possibly Mbeumo could be great signings. Possibly, you know.
Very
Jesus,
possibly, yeah.
where would we go with this?
Obviously, I'm pretty biased, but I can still,
Like,
I can still
You know
somewhat
what?
see it. But
I think Spurs will really kick on with Thomas Frank. I
Hmm.
think he might. I think a lot of the injury issues could be like Postecoglou playing a certain way, high lines, sprinting back and forth, injuries. I think Thomas Frank will play a lot more technical football to say that kind
well,
of more possession based, more counter attacking, and I think they will shoot up the table.
do you know what I'm
I
thinking?
wouldn't be surprised if they're
I'm thinking they
at
might
least
finish
seventh.
here. I think they might do 10th, but I think they might do well if not win maybe a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup.
I can see them
okay,
finishing higher. I can see them finishing like seventh. Not gonna lie.
really?
Yeah,
Up
I think
here.
Thomas Frank is
Oh,
very, very underrated, man.
I would have put them maybe. I would have put them in the same as United, maybe 8th. Put Spurs 8th and maybe United 10th.
Well, if we put down 10th, we still have a problem of 17th.
I know we push them further down, so it's between who would you put?
Well, maybe
Wolves or
would
Brentford?
you push each team down one peg maybe?
Possibly.
So the Bees go there, Wolves, Bournemouth, Ham, Toffees, Fulham, Palace, and then United fit in there.
How do we feel on that?
What are we thinking?
That's not bad. And
I,
another thing
yeah,
is United don't have any European football, so
No.
they've only got one game a week. So I
yeah.
mean, injuries and freshness, and they should be really pushing for the table as to try and get European football back as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Tell you, Palace are good, man. Palace seem to just
They're a
really,
good
really
team.
improve throughout the season.
I'll be honest,
Like Mateta and
I'd
they're
swap
fine, man.
Palace with fucking Forest. I don't think Forest are going to be here.
Maybe like that. Yeah.
I'm thinking this.
Yeah. Just I think there might be a big drop off on.
Or maybe, are we giving too much praise maybe to Brighton? Like 7th is a good achievement. Like where did they finish last season?
I think they finished 8th. They
Well,
finished 8th last season.
in there and thereabouts, I suppose. But
Didn't really go crazy down or crazy up in our prediction.
no, it doesn't really change a whole heap. Are we near enough happy with that then? Like the top 6 and the top
Yeah, like
bottom
no
3?
one. Yeah, like no one in our table really kind of went crazy apart from like Spurs, obviously United, but that's because of who we think they're going to sign and who they have signed.
Yeah.
The only one that's really dropped crazy amounts is Brentford, and that's obviously because of what they're losing.
Yeah, they're losing a
And
star player and a fucking
that's
star
valid.
manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think are we
I'm
happy with that then?
Yeah, I'm very happy with
I'm
that.
happy
For
enough
the
with that one.
moment, yeah. No, I'll be more than happy. It's like I do think Chelsea or Arsenal, could flip them, no problem.
Oh yeah,
Just again on
top four,
signings,
so interchangeable.
Yeah.
Chelsea's only there because of just being hopeful in the window. But knowing these sporting directors, I could end up they could be 10th for the time. By the time we do this again.
Right. That's the end of the video anyway. That is our Premier League table for the 25-26 season. I'll try and timestamp this as best I can for each team. But obviously when I got the teams like Chelsea and like the top four, we went on a bit of a waffle. So I might just put that as one segment as the top four. So take it as you will. But yeah, that's our Premier League table even for 25-26, and we'll wait now till the end of that season and come back and review and can take the absolute piss out of what we did. This table could be flipped completely on its head, but it's an educated guess, and it's a bit of crack. So play along with us in the comments anyway, and best of luck to these teams in the next season. Good luck, lads.